Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful that you joined us today because you're going to learn something. If you haven't called us before, you can call us at 1-800-229-3000. By us, today, I have Dr. Alice Benton, a psychologist and author, incredible mom, and just all-around amazing woman, as well as Laura Mangin-McDonald, who is also an author, a speaker, marriage and family therapist, and not only is she a great mom, but she's a Lala. That's her grandma name.
Lala. I like that one. I haven't heard that before.
But you know, one of the things that I always am interested to what is on your mind, Laura, what is, because you're always got something going on. What's happening today?
Well, you know, Becky, I always have, on any given day, I have a good 500 lanes open, right?
At least.
And we were talking about this earlier today, but I'm thinking about our ability to name our negative core pattern. It will change our life in so many ways. 50% of our healing happens when we can name our emotion and experience. I mean, to me, that's amazing. 50%. So we're coming out of the gate already halfway there, just when we can name that negative core pattern. The other thing it does, and this is huge in our marriages, is it helps us to identify the real enemy. And it's not the person who is across from us. It's our negative core pattern that's inside of us that unless we've had some work in that area, we don't even know it. The next thing it does is it opens the door for self-awareness. Self-awareness is a game changer. Mm-hmm. It removes that hitch. I grew up on a farm, and you know the wagon is hitched to the tractor. Well, what it does is it unhitches us. We don't feel that our mood, our wellness, is determined by the other person's response. Now, can it hurt? Yes, but it doesn't determine our wellness, the trajectory of our life. It lets us know that I'm in control of me, and I can understand my attachment, what triggers me, and I always say we better know what triggers us because the enemy sure does. And you know how we're to navigate this big conflict. The fourth thing it does is our neural pathways that are set up. It's like our hard drive of a computer. It determines what we're going to do next. These neural pathways cannot change unless we're in healthy relationship working on these these negative core patterns. But when we open up and let people speak in, and we have that safe setting, then it rewires our brain. Absolutely incredible to me.
I love that. I love neuroplasticity like that, right, Laura?
I do. I need to do a neuroplasticity chair. I'm going to have to because it's just God never leaves us stuck. He always gives us, we have a way. But then finally, all of this leads to other awareness. And wow, is it a place of freedom when we can stand and someone is getting dysregulated, but we're staying regulated, and then we don't take personal what feels so personal. That's freedom, sister.
That is freedom. I love that. I've heard you talk about this before, and when you think about if you just want to move the needle a little bit, just to name your emotion, to identify what is that thing that I'm feeling, what's it attached to? Wow, that is some hope for the day. I'm telling you.
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer. Well, we are going to help you change the game. If you want to give us a call, we've got some calls lined up and we're going to go to them after the break. We're so grateful for new life and the ability to have it. We'll be right back after this.
Our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
New Life's Intimacy and Marriage Weekend examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you've always wanted. The next Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 26th to the 28th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, we have been around about 36 years helping people find their new life, and we're going to continue doing that today and for many years to come. Right now, we're going to go to Sam, who's calling us from Dunkirk, Maryland. Hi, Sam. How can we help you today?
Hi. First, I want you guys to know that I've been listening to you since probably the beginning of time in the 90s.
Me too.
I found you too? I found my first therapist, psychiatrist, through you guys, and she was phenomenal. And I've been on my healing path ever since. And so my question today is, I'm in my 60s. I'm divorced. We were divorced in 2012. Not so much a question around that, but I am in a place in my life right now where I am just completely stuck. I am not motivated to do anything. I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I take my shower and put my clothing on, take care of the dogs. And I force myself to go to work. But I just have no desire. No, I don't even want to cry anymore. I've spent many years doing that and, healing, going back and forth. I don't want to go to any more groups. I occasionally will pick up my Bible and read a little bit. I still love the Lord. There's no way to ever stop loving Him once you've been with Him intimately. But I hardly ever, do a real prayer time. I mean, I go through my day talking to Him, asking questions and saying, lead me and guide me. So I'm not angry with Him or anything, but I just don't want to do anything. And I'm in my 60s, and I'm just, I guess I'm lost, and I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, let's see if we'll start with you, Laura. How can we help Sam get unstuck?
Well, speaking from the Club 60s group, Sam, I want you to be able to, 60s, this is the time to be celebrating, girl. What I'm detecting here, and I'm going to jump right into it, I'm detecting a connection, a deep emotional connection issue. Because if those wires are frayed or if there's some disconnect there, it's going to manifest and be reflected in our relationship with the Lord and with each other. And it's going to burn up our margin because without connection, that's our power source. It's like if my iPhone does not get charged through the connection, its main source, then it's going to die down. It's going to have a hard time, it's just going to die down. And that's what I hear from you. So I wonder if a lot of your groups, I'm going to say this, and I don't want it to sound harsh, okay? But sometimes maybe we're the way our attachment was or the way we've gotten through life is we do the part without the heart. So we're very good at perfunctory, very responsible. We take care of business. But if we have not let that connection, if we've not had that deep, emotional, intimate connection with others, we're just gonna flatline. So that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if you show up with a smiley face and people, but nobody really has deeply connected with you.
That's really interesting you say that, because I forgot to mention I have a little friend group where we do things on occasions, but, we're all in our 60s, so we've kind of slowed down a bit, and where we are, it's hot. But I am kind of isolated. But it's not because I don't like people. I'm just not too terribly interested. I'm even losing a little interest in my dogs, who I absolutely adore. Don't misunderstand. I'm not mistreating them. I don't miss a beat with them.
I hear that.
But I'm really just going through the motions. I really am. And I really don't have any real deep connection. I've tried, but it's like I might get together with the lady from a group for coffee or something, and she wants to talk about the end time or something. And I'm like, well, that's not my focus.
No.
So I don't know. And I haven't found a church since COVID either.
Yeah.
And I've tried.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Alice.
Sam, I want you to also check on how your body is doing, because I'm hearing what I would call apathy, where you're no longer caring about things that you love, and that can be a sign either of some medical issues going on, like a hormone imbalance, which certainly happens as we age. You may even have some low testosterone, your progesterone, your progesterone and estrogen might be off. And so getting a full medical exam and blood work done could reveal that could be adding to that apathy. It might be a sign of depression. A numbness can come along with depression. And so a psychiatric checkup. I think you said you saw a psychiatrist in the past.
Yes.
Okay. And if you haven't had
I do suffer with depression.
Okay.
And I do take my med.
If you
I didn't mean
haven't
to cut you off,
If you haven't had them adjusted in a while, the body tends to develop a tolerance for the amount of medication we've been taking, and it usually needs adjustments over time, or even a switch to an antidepressant, because they can reach a point where they're no longer therapeutically effective for you. So a talk with your doctor and a talk with your psychiatrist. And I heard you say, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at God. I think I am hearing a little bit of anger. I could be wrong, but when you said something like, I don't want to do a group again, I thought, I wonder if there's something there. I wonder if you have felt burned or stung, or even like, why am I doing all this work and I'm not getting anywhere? I'm just done with that. Does that hit home at all, or am I off base?
Yeah, to a degree. But it's not like I come home and say, oh, why am I doing this? It's kind of sort of the same old. I have like I said to you guys earlier, I've been on a healing path for a long time. I've had a lot to heal from. Trauma, depression, just you name it, I've had a lot to heal from. So I'm quite fortunate and blessed that I've made it this far. But, some of the groups I go to, they're kind of discussing things that I've moved beyond. And I would like to find something that's a bit more deeper and a little bit more mature, because I'm in my 60s. Not that younger women can't be more mature or have a little bit more meat on their bones. It's like things that I've already done.
Right. What I hear in that.
I understand my abandonment and my rejection.
Right, but what I hear in that, Sam, is that you need something to energize you, to challenge you. That life has become apathetic, which is also, like Alice mentioned, that's an earmark of depression. And I agree with just that pathway of that physical part of you is probably needing a refresh. But also to what Laura said, is that connection piece is part of it. But man, it is so hard to find those connections. Laura?
Yeah. I'm just listening to you, Sam, and I'm just going to say, I promise you, there's other women who want to connect deeply like you do. And now here's where I'm going to press a little bit. I'm going to say, we're kind of in this we're in assessment now. This is going to hurt maybe a little bit, Sam.
Sure.
How, because it tells me there's some trauma there to where you were closed off to protect yourself, because, hey, it makes sense. We were hurt in relationships, and we don't want to open up that deeply. So I'm wondering if you don't kind of self-sabotage by opening up mostly, but not completely, right? And we're created to be totally, completely known. And so, and we are going to over, time, we're going to shut down, and it's going to, resort to depression, which is a shutdown, and apathy, which is just like, I can't get I don't have any more tread on my tires here. So I'm going to encourage you to get some new tread, and to, whether you get back with a therapist who knows how to do EFT, some type of trauma work, and go, let's just go back and look at this original stuff, right? And let's begin to practice. And that's where I was saying earlier, that's where the new neural pathways are made. They're only made in safe settings. And without safety,
I heard that earlier.
Security, yeah, we're not going to change. It's impossible. It's God's design. So I promise you, this is God's promise. If you will put yourself out there in this safe, secure setting and begin to go, let people in, and be willing to listen to people press on you, go, Sam, I'm trying to get closer. Or as we say where I grew up, kind of redneck, I'm trying to be your friend and you won't let me. And I'm wondering if you don't have that sometimes.
And emotional freedom, which is happening online, September 14th, could be a really good place for you to find a new group, have a fresh perspective, and a fresh start at what we're advising you to try.
I love that idea.
Also restore.
Yeah,
our future restore to come there.
That's right. Sam, I'm going to send you a copy of Steve's book, Healing is a Choice. It is foundational to many of the things that you brought up, and we're so grateful that you called. We're going to continue on with the calls, and we're going to talk with Rich, who's calling us from Washington, D.C., listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Rich. How can we help you today?
Well, I'm a 60-year-old man and second marriage, and my wife and I have been experiencing a chasm. And we've done some serious discussions, and it's incredible to me the difference in how men and women view emotion. And so I'm hoping you can help me with some practical tips on how I can better understand the importance of emotion to her, and how she can view my action as a lack of emotional connection. And I'll give you an example if I could. The other day, we were talking about a particular challenge that we face, and I had one position and she had another position, and she was, at the end of the conversation, I realized that she was basically describing her feelings, and I was hearing her describe rules. So, I interpreted what she said as, you can't do that. And what she was saying was, well, I'd prefer if you didn't do it, but I understand if you do.
Well, you got some insight there, Rich. It's pretty powerful. I mean, the fact that you were able to discern that. Alice, let's start with you. How would you direct Rich to connect?
Thank you for being the kind of man to ask this question, Rich, because, if I polled all the men I work with in my practice, I think they would say something very similar. Women's emotions are so confusing. And I think our husbands, out of love, they desire to fix when they hear a problem from their wives, to advise in order to help, and they want to comfort quickly to move their wives out of distress. Whereas what we women tend to need is a lot more listening, connection, and like your desire, you're saying, to understand versus to fix. And a way to get structure into listening, because we tend to go too fast in the back and forths of giving our ideas and our responses and our thoughts. When we slow it down, which it kind of sounds like you and your wife are trying to do, to question, is this what you mean? This is what I heard. Is this what you meant? Because we're so often wrong in our assumptions, both ways. We women are too, very frequently incorrect. And so by doing this pattern of, this is what I heard you say, did I get that right? And those questions come out of Mylan and Kay's book, How We Love, where they teach us how to better understand how to communicate well and the patterns that we display in relationship.
That's great.
And
Laura?
I'm sorry, what was the name of the author? What was the name of the author?
It's
Well, we'll send you a copy, but go ahead, Alice.
Yep, Mylan and K Yurkovich, and they wrote How We Love.
Well, Rich, hold on, because we're going to go to a break, but I want you to hear from Laura. And, you know, just like what Alice said, I want to check with you. You heard me say that, right? We're going to go to a break, and we're going to come right back because we want to hear more from you, Rich. But also, I know Laura's got some insight. And, Rich, you know, it's the obvious thing. You and your wife need to join us at our Intimacy and Marriage Intensive, which is going to be in D.C., And so we would love for you to join us, July 26th through 28th. But just put a pin in that for just a second.
Write it down.
That's right, because we're going to be back after this break, and Laura's going to give you some more insight into this. But man, we celebrate the effort that people put into making their marriages the best it can be. We'll be right back after that.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I would up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. You know, I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found life recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I just want to say today we have an early bird rate that you can get in on for intimacy and marriage, but today's the day. So give us a call right away so that you can get there. But now I want to hear from Laura. We're talking with Rich, and he's calling in about his marriage to make it the best it can be and about those disconnects that couples have. Laura, what would you suggest that Rich and his wife do?
Well, Rich, I'm so glad that you called in. That speaks volumes about your desire to want to, be a conduit in changing your relationship. But I'm gonna give you a word. Here's what I feel. I feel your pain, and here's what one of my guy clients said years ago, and I use this word all the time. It's a beat down. It is a beat down to be trying your best and using all the resources you have and going, what in the world? How can I be trying so hard and to be getting so little, getting such a diminished return? And I'll tell you, and I promise you, this is the answer. It is that negative core pattern that your wife and you have. She's trying her hardest to explain to you what she sees, and you are hearing that it's negative, and so it's a beat down, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So so I promise you, if you all will get to intimacy and marriage, what we specifically deal with this, it's understanding that negative core pattern. And there's a trigger that's going on in you. Even your head could say, I don't believe she's trying to beat me down. I don't believe she's trying to be negative. But everything in your body, the visceral sense, the response you're having to her words is going, I'm just so done with this. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does. I mean, it is so difficult because I think we have, and I like the way you said it, negative core principles or the core beliefs or core practices. Yeah, negative core patterns. So it's a case of negative core patterns colliding. So I have mine and she has hers, and so it becomes this big matrix of yuck.
It sure does.
So well said. So it's coming to intimacy and marriage. We break this down. We look at our attachment style. We understand the neuroscience, what's going on inside of our body, which all your feels are legit. And all of her feels are legit. But you all keep on, it's like you're driving blindfolded and you keep on crashing into each other. We need to give you new information and a new path, which a lot of that is self-awareness, because when we have self-awareness, and you can listen to the beginning of the show, I kind of explained this, we can have other awareness, and we don't take personal what otherwise would feel so personal. But we can help you both get regulated, and so that you can hear each other's hearts and see that each other's not the enemy. It's the core pattern that's the enemy, and we can resolve that, and y'all can live happily ever after.
There you go. You know, Rich, we're going to send you a copy of Milan and Kay Yurkovich's book, How We Love. And when you stay on the line, the call center will help you with that early bird discount too, because you're so close. You guys are right there, and you can join us. And you know, one of the things about intimacy and marriage is it's not just the practical, but we give you time to practice. You're not going to go home without trying this out. And it's really an impactful part of the journey. Thank you so much, Rich, for calling, and we hope to see you there. We are going to go to the calls. We're going to talk with Carla, who's calling us from Fayetteville, Arkansas, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Carla. How can we help you today?
Hi. What I'm calling in, I called in the other day, but I'm just wanting to call back in, and I'm just trying to figure out how to process through all of the different emotions that I've been going through. I lost my husband. Yesterday was 3 months ago of a 16-year marriage. And he was a severe alcoholic. He was military and suffered from PTSD, but he was very, very verbally abusive. And there was no intimacy in our marriage. He had a porn addiction. And so, and over the last 2 years, I had gotten him into 2 very extensive alcohol rehabs, but also that went into different specializing for PTSD and, you know, brain mapping, EMDR, and trauma and things like that. But anyhow, I realized after, and he had always just assured me that, you know, Carla, I will always take care of you. You don't ever have to worry about that. And I don't have any family. My family, I have no family that's living. And he had only one sister, so basically there's no family between us. And I find out right after, of course, he had canceled his military life insurance in 2018, and he had $72,000 worth of credit card debt, and he got credit cards in my name, and I have $38,000 in my name. But it's just overwhelming, and I just don't really know how to process everything. I hear the music starting.
Thank you, Carla, for being so aware. But listen, our hearts are breaking for you, and we will give you some insight and next steps. And just know this is overwhelming. Your feelings, we validate the feeling. And but here's the thing. There is hope. It's not going to be easy, but good will come from this. We'll give you some steps forward and some insight, and just know that we're here for you. We're going to take a break. and we're going to be right back after this with New Life.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information and not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
You know, when you support New Life, you're helping people connect, and transformational resources that we have can help you heal. And I just want to say thank you to Club New Life. I just heard that spot, and, you know, just talking about how much Club New Life makes a difference in so many people's lives. So if you have not yet begun to support New Life, please give us a call today or go to newlife.com. Right now, we are talking with Carla, who's in a real desperate situation and feeling overwhelmed. Let's start with you, Laura. How would you begin to help Carla with this situation?
Oh, Carla, gosh, my heart is just, we just got back from Restore, and because what I hear in your story is betrayal trauma mixed in with just grief. It's kind of like betrayal trauma blew you up, and then grief pushed the dirt over you. I mean, it's just, this is just devastating. Betrayal trauma blows us up. It's unfair. It's wrong. You were cheated. And then insult to injury to find out that there could have been $72,000 in I think you said in life insurance, or maybe you said that's
right. Life insurance is right.
Okay, right. Okay. And so anyway, you know, it's just, I'm sure it's just this mix of whirling, you know, emotions, like what to do next. But I want you to know that this is legit, and betrayal trauma breaks down the molecular structure of our cells. I'm sure you feel inside you're imploding. Have you gotten any, I know 3 months is so fresh, and the discovery is you're probably finding out stuff probably weekly, but have you been able to get in any type of, where you can get in a safe setting of therapy office and begin to talk about this trauma?
No, I have not been able to financially. Like I said, he was military, but he had canceled his life insurance policy, but he had $72,000 worth of debt in his name and then took out $38,000 in my name that I was not aware of. But I haven't been able to do that just simply because through the military, it's taking so long to process just his retirement.
Right.
I've just been fighting with the military and going through so much trying to do that. And it just, you want to feel, I expected that I would feel sad, but instead all I feel is anger, and all I feel is guilt because I feel angry. And
no.
It just seems like my life is more and more out of control the further I'm getting 3 months down. And it's like there's absolutely no oxygen to breathe at times. And it's hard just to be able to learn how to do the physical things you got to do, and then the regular financial things you have to do to run a home, and then financially the mess you're in. And it's just, I don't know how to process all of these different emotions.
Carla, you remember when Jesus was turning the temples over left and right? Turning the tables over in the temple? Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
You know what emotion he was feeling when he was doing that?
Anger.
Anger, girl, because anger is a God-given, necessary, righteous emotion. And he was turning those tables over because of financial abuse that was taking place, because of the betrayals that the people who were supposed to be in charge, leading, protecting, guiding, they were undermining all of that. That's why he was angry. So I hear you feel guilty. Shouldn't you feel sad that your husband passed away? Girl, you're right to feel angry because you're finding out he was not protecting and guiding and taking care of like he promised he would. Anger is the right emotion. And I don't want you to push it aside because it energizes us to take action. And we heard your financial concern, but I don't want you to wait until you have the right amount of finances to get help, because your heart is needing surgery by a professional right now, and that's that therapeutic kind of surgery that Laura was bringing up. And there are clinicians in our network of counselors who will see you at a sliding scale fee, because you're going to need that to be able to keep processing the retirement and all those things that you were referring to. Your heart needs to be held up by a loving, stable person that you can trust. And right now that sounds like it's only a professional. We also give scholarships. I wonder if you knew that. We give scholarships to people who are in need and want to come to our intensives. And our emotional freedom will be a place for you to get into a group of women who can understand and love you and be a new part of the spiritual family you need, because you don't have the biological family around you. When you can't be alone in this. You need other people to fuel you.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so I did, as of just a little while ago, I called in last week, I believe it was, and but I just did receive news today from Jess that I did get accepted into the scholarship program.
There we go.
Oh, wonderful. Yes,
for the emotional freedom.
I mean,
that's awesome.
I agree with everything that Alice said. Carla, right now your anger is going to catapult you, give you the moxie inside of you to move forward and fight the battle that's in front of you. It's part of the grief process, and then you will move through the stages. You'll vacillate back and forth, but right now you need that anger. And I would also, I grew up in a military family, and there should still be access for you to have counseling just as an additional means into what New Life has been able to scholarship you. You should have access to the mental health center.
Yeah. Carla, do you have connection with the VA?
I do, but for the VA, they said they could only discuss matters that at the time when he was still living that were surrounded around him and the alcoholism and PTSD. But TRICARE is my insurance through the military.
Yes.
And we don't live in a military town. We live in a very country, Siloam Springs. It's a smaller area where I'm at. And there's no counselors here. There's hardly medical doctors that take TRICARE. So I'm not in a, a setting where medical is so easily accessible here for military.
Right. So Carla, and the challenge when we have obstacles like that is it adds to the feeling of overwhelm, because you're deep in grief. Now, here's the good news. The good news is there are telehealth options, even with counseling, even with groups, because I'm thinking a grief share group would be a great place for you to begin part of this journey. This isn't going to be a one and done. And I know that can feel so just defeating because it feels so difficult right now. But I'm so grateful that you have the scholarship for emotional freedom. Like Alice had suggested, that's going to be a great way. But until then, you don't want to just wait until that happens. You need the support to begin now. And so I want to encourage you to check with your provider, or even go to griefshare.org, because you will find a group online, or and then hold on, and we'll get you connected with more resources. Grief is it's complicated, because not only is your situation complicated, but grief itself is complex. And we want to support you in all of the different ways possible. And we certainly will be praying for you. I'm going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook on grief, which will help you as well. Alice?
Becky, I just want a lawyer involved in this too, who can fight some of these legal battles for you, and do some consultations, because there are some attorneys who will wait until they have success to charge you. And so keep asking, knock on those doors.
Yeah, I've heard from people over time, when we talk about having specific types of help, whether it is a trauma therapist or a certified sexual addiction therapist, or like all of the little alphabets that go behind counselors' names, right? But I've heard from so many people over the years, when you live in a remote part of the country, because there's lots of remote parts of this country where it doesn't feel like there is good help available. Well, let me tell you, because of telehealth, it has expanded the reach of people being able to access health. And yeah, we know that it's not exactly the same as being in the same room, eyeball to eyeball, and all of that, but it is a beginning. Do not let whatever it feels like the obstacle, whether it's financial, whether it's legal, whether it's accessibility, because of a million different reasons, we want to help you get connected to the help that you need. And we have resources. We connect with people all over the country. One such resource is our church initiative that we started, because we know that so many of you are attending churches all across the country. We interact with you all the time. We want to empower the church to know that it is possible to have counseling, mental health, emotional health be part of your ministry. And if you go to newlife.com, you can click the Get Help tab, and you'll see the resources that we have for churches. And maybe pass that along to your pastor if you're listening. And you think, well, you might not want to tell your pastor he needs help, but hey, he might, or she might. I mean, it doesn't hurt to share the news about New Life. We're grateful that you called, Carla. We'll be praying for you, and know that there's hope in the future. You're going to call us back someday with that news, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to go back to the calls after this break. 1-800-229-3000. We're grateful you're here.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career, or possibly strengthening your relationships, or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability. ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a new life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You know, Henry Cloud's been part of New Life for many years. Many of you have been listening for that long. You remember when he was on a regular basis. Well, Henry just came out with a new book called Why I Believe. And Henry's personal story is pretty amazing. And he also intertwines not only why he believes, his faith journey, but also his personal journey. And for a gift of $25 or more to New Life in July, you will be able to get a book for that and support the ministry at the same time. So we just want to let you know you can get a copy of Dr. Henry Cloud's Why I Believe for a gift of $25 or more. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with John, who's calling us from Springfield, Missouri, watches us on NRB. Hello, John. Thanks for calling, and thanks for watching. How can we help you today?
Yeah, our son, we're very concerned about him. He lost his wife 2.5 years ago, and a month later, his boys were stolen, or his stepsons were stolen from him by their dad, who they had fled from when they were little because they fled for their lives. And so he poured his life into his stepsons and his wife, and now he's distraught. And then come to find out, 8 months later, the father gave the boys up to their grandmother, who was not really a mother to their mother. And she had just recently married a man within 2 weeks of meeting him because he looked like her previous husband, who was a wonderful man, but he tragically died in a farm accident. And she married him because he looked like her past husband. And this man turned out not only to be evil, but demonic. He had ruined past lives that he was in contact with, and he set out to destroy the two stepsons, and he did it. And he did all kinds of stuff. But at any rate, it came to a point where he couldn't take care of them, and because he messed them up so bad, and the state didn't want them, and that was in another state. And now, because of what he did, my son, because all the lies and all kinds of stuff, and because they're so messed up, my son doesn't want anything to do with them, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with them, and he's afraid of them. And they're older now, and they can do some physical damage to him, and so he spent a huge amount of money with lawyers trying to get them when they were here in this state, and nothing was done, and the law wouldn't do nothing to help him, and so he's been crushed every turn. But at any rate, he is so messed up. He's got a job that it demands his attention, because if he doesn't, it lives can be messed up and cost a lot of money. But at any rate, when he comes home, he loses it. He's got a dog he dearly beloves, the only thing left in his life. And he loves that dog, but yet he doesn't feed it or water it. And
John, the layers of this that your son has gone through are almost unbelievable, but I completely believe you. Let me ask a couple questions so we can try to help you here. Does your son live with you for now?
No, we live with him for the first year to kind of help him out. And he knows the Lord. He knew the Lord when he was younger. I mean, he accepted Christ then. And we always went to church. We had a godly life then. And he has not gone to church maybe 10 times in the last 2.5 years.
And John, is he open to help from you at this point, and is he even in communication with you?
He listens.
He listens.
He makes excuses for something he doesn't want to do.
Do you are you worried that he's using drugs or alcohol to medicate what he's going through?
No. Okay. His only medication is food. And so he's gained probably 60 to 80 pounds.
Oh. And when you bring up the idea of counseling to him, how does he respond to you?
He has seen counseling, probably 4 different counselors, and somewhat they've helped him, somewhat not. They haven't fully helped him, in other words.
And
he's open to counseling. Oh, yeah.
Is he still going?
Kind of. Now, the stepsons, they were in counseling since they were little from their dad. Their dad was evil. And that's lightly termed.
Well, we just have a couple of minutes, John, and I want both Alice and Laura to be able to give you a couple of steps. I'm grateful that you're in his life. Alice, you want to add anything, like what can John do to help him?
Well, John, this might be surprising, but making sure you're in structured support yourself, you and your wife, because, I mean, this just must overwhelm your hearts and your minds, and you might feel at a complete loss as to what to do. So I would recommend both. Yeah, I'm sure. I want you to consider Al-Anon, even though he's not in active substance use, but he sounds like he sure is using food to medicate. And the principles of Al-Anon will help you know what you and your wife should do and shouldn't do, because I'm sure he needs you to be a listener to him. He probably is not open to advice. Probably needs a whole lot of empathy and validation, but he may need some pushing to shop around for the right fit therapist and even a psychiatrist, because this man needs just the highest form of professional help with what he and you all as a family have been through.
Laura?
Right. I agree with Alice that, that you all need to have some type of support around you all to help your son. But what I'm hearing from your son is he's stuck in grief. And grief is 99.9.
He misses her terribly. That was his whole world.
Right. I mean, that makes complete sense to me, John. But he's stuck in the grief process. Grief is the only pain we willfully enter into. And it's just counterintuitive. And I imagine that, he's just stuck. He's just like, he can't move forward because he sounds like he's stuck in depression and maybe vacillates between anger and denial, bargaining. But, the entry to grief is denial and the exit is acceptance. And it doesn't mean we endorse, but it means that we are able to face the reality. So he needs to be in some good grief groups, good grief therapy to be able to face this. He doesn't see a way right now. He doesn't see a future, and he's just doing enough to get, to execute in his job and then to come home and medicate through food to give him some comfort.
John, if he is open to counseling, you said that he'd been going, but a couple of, and so I do agree with both of them. That would be a great way to go forward, and for you too. Go ahead.
Well, you've heard, John, that our Emotional Freedom Intensive is coming up on September 14th, and it is online, so it's simple to attend, but it would also get him into a group of men that he could then form some connection with, and we've been talking all the show about how much we need relationship in order to heal, and he sounds pretty isolated. I'm glad he has you and your wife, and he's going to need some peers to join him in this process towards full healing.
Yeah, John, hold on, and we will get you the information about that, as well as any counselor information and a copy of Steve's Healing is a Choice book, because I think that your son can benefit from that. Like you said, Laura, there's a lot of layered pain there. As we close out this this show, Laura, what would you say to somebody who is identifying with that layers and layers of pain?
Right. Well, I say that, we find what we look for. And sometimes when we are so devastated, we just think that there's no way out. But it's like, my prayer would be, Lord, this is on you. You say you have made a way. Help me see a way. And it reminds me of Isaiah 40.
That's it. Well, we're going to go. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.